MrBeast has been repeatedly under fire for the past couple of weeks, with so many allegations popping up of inappropriate behavior happening within his inner circle, illegal activity being committed, and horrible game show conditions that's really put a dent on the MrBeast brand. So people he's been associated with have been getting exposed with some real nasty stuff, and a bunch of former employees have been coming out with statements. One of them even made an hour-long expose video. Overall, it's been a huge mess keeping up with everything that's been happening with MrBeast, because I feel like every single time I open up my phone, either a new bombshell allegation or new bombshell evidence has been dropped, and it's just blowing everything out of the water. So I wanted to make this video to go over as much as I can to cover everything that's been going down up to this point, so that people who aren't normally glued to their phones 24/7 can see how much of a nightmare this whole situation is for MrBeast himself. So we'll start off with the one thing that triggered this whole chain reaction: MrBeast's friend and former co-worker, Ava Kris Tyson. So on July 16, a video came out claiming to be exposing Kris Tyson's controversial past, titled "This Video Will Make You Hate Kris Tyson." In the video, Adrox goes over to talk about the weird fan-like relationship that Kris Tyson had with a person who goes online by the name of Shadman. Shadman was a popular YouTuber from a few years back who got into making NSFW art portraying usually children and comic book characters who are considered to be underaged. So in this video, Adrox shows multiple examples of how Ava Kris Tyson was a massive fan of Shadman's art. There'll be multiple instances of Kris Tyson either commenting or straight up asking Shadman to make art of certain characters like Beast Boy from Teen Titans, Violet from The Incredibles, and Mabel and Dipper from Gravity Falls. All these comic book and animation characters are just children, so obviously it's a very disgusting thing to be asking for. And Shadman is even the same person who is stated to have drawn this sort of disgusting art of Keemstar's 7-year-old daughter, so it wasn't just like cartoon art anymore, this was actual real-life people, and Keemstar even mentions that he had a conversation with Kris Tyson about it a while back as well, but nothing really came out of that. And even in this old video from MrBeast where he tips the pizza delivery guy $10,000, you can even see some of Shadman's art hanging on the wall, and at this point, MrBeast and Kris Tyson were roommates, so it's safe to assume that at this point, Jimmy was at least aware to a certain degree that this sort of thing was happening, even though he wasn't directly involved with it, or so we assume. And honestly speaking, with how open Ava Kris Tyson was on social media about all of this and how frequently it was just being commented and posted and just out there for everyone to see, it's honestly surprising how long it took for the people who were calling this out to get noticed. So apart from all the Shadman stuff that was being brought to light, at this point there was also a rumor going around that there was a secret Discord server where Ava Kris Tyson and a bunch of other minors were a part of, and there was a lot of NSFW art and inappropriate comments being shared, and there was a lot of accusations of alleged grooming happening in this server. At first, people were just writing it off as rumors, but on July 23rd, Ava Kris Tyson came out with an apology stating, "I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things MrBeast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. I want to add, I never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up in these accusations, Lava GS, has vocally supported that they are false." So with this apology coming out, it was basically confirmation that yes, there was a private Discord server with minors, and yes, there was a lot of inappropriate stuff being said there. But overall, no one really knew what happened inside the server. It was all a mystery. And so far, 2 people at this point have come out on Twitter stating that they were in the server, the first one being Lava GS, who initially came out defending Kris, stating that sure, some inappropriate comments were made, but overall, there was no grooming going on, nothing naughty happening. A lot of people at this point were just thinking that Lava GS was just getting paid off by MrBeast to keep quiet, but it wasn't until the messages were actually leaked a few days later that people actually got the chance to see just how disgusting the messages and the content being shared in this server really was. So a few days later, on July 27th, the second user who claims to be from the server, called Nathan W, leaked over 500,000 Discord messages, and it was just confirmation that it wasn't just a few inappropriate jokes being shared here and there. This place was rampant with NSFW content. It was just a disgusting place that no child should have access to. Everybody's suspicions were basically being confirmed at this point that this was a server where you had 12 to 15-year-olds engaging with adults in messages that there's no way kids need to know about that. They don't have to be exposed to that. I'm gonna share a couple of them on screen, but there was so much inappropriate stuff being said here that even Lava GS, the person who initially came out in defense of Ava Kris Tyson, even posted an update afterwards stating that he was actually misremembering just how bad things were in the server, and now that he actually got the chance to go over all the leaked logs, realized it really was just unacceptable. And this is just like a recent thing, but apparently Kris Tyson wasn't the only adult in the server that was being inappropriate to minors, because it came out very recently actually that allegedly one of the other admins going by the name of Shadow Bullet / Max was also showcasing some really inappropriate behavior towards a lot of the underage girls that were in the server. So technically this entire server was just an alleged PDF file exploitation ring. This is the point where MrBeast finally starts coming into play regarding the whole Kris Tyson situation, because obviously he's the biggest YouTuber. He has to do something to protect the brand. So MrBeast makes a statement saying that he's now becoming aware of the serious allegations of Kris Tyson's behavior online, and he's disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable facts. And that being said, he's seen enough online to take immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with MrBeast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions, which is interesting because on one part, Ava Kris Tyson saying, I'm the one who's stepping out, you know, I just want to leave. And here MrBeast is saying, you're fired. Interesting. MrBeast also stated that he's hiring a third-party investigator to look into the case, and I'm sure that third-party investigator is going to have an absolute field day when they find out that MrBeast was not only confirmed to be inside of that very same private server, but he was also caught purposely trying to cover up the fact that he knew about the Shatman art by deleting the clip from the original video, and even though he wasn't as active as other users within that server, it's still confirmed that he had about 40 messages that were leaked out of the 500,000, and there's even been reports that MrBeast was even allegedly making comments about Kris Tyson's member size to these minors, which, you know, at first people were skeptical about whether it was MrBeast or not, but then it was later confirmed it was actually his account. And let me tell you, we're just at the tip of the iceberg of this whole MrBeast drama. So immediately following the end of Ava Kris Tyson's online career, now it was MrBeast's turn to get into the spotlight because 1, he was allegedly confirmed to be inside of that Discord server, 2, he was allegedly aware of Kris Tyson's involvement with the Shatman art and refused to do anything about it, and 3, on July 24th, this hour-long video made by a former MrBeast employee would make matters even worse for Jimmy. So a user by the name of Dogpack404 made a video called I worked for MrBeast, he's a fraud. And this hour-long video, I highly suggest you check it out because it'll cover a lot of this part that I'm going to talk about, but in much greater detail, and it's from the POV of someone who was actually there. But in this video, he calls out MrBeast for a number of reasons. You know, we'll go over the biggest ones because there's the obvious ones, which is like faking videos or slightly editing them to make them different, but one of the main topics that he talks about is how allegedly MrBeast is hosting illegal lotteries where the only way to win a prize is by making a purchase. And according to the FTC, an illegal lottery is defined by having 3 elements: a valuable price, a random chance, and consideration, which can be by either paying or doing something in order to participate. And all of this is being promoted to his audience, which is primarily children. In order to make it a legal giveaway, you have to eliminate one of those 3 elements, but Dogpack404 highlights how the MrBeast team fulfills all of these conditions for allegedly hosting illegal lotteries on giveaways during live streams where they were selling MrBeast merch, and if you bought some merch, you had some chance to win some money. It's not like if you bought the merch, you would get the money. You know, you buy the merch and you have the chance to maybe win some money. And based off a lot of the comments and people coming out with their testimony, some were just outright stating that they never got their prizes to begin with, or they were never contacted by the MrBeast team. And during the live stream, there was also a lot of giveaways that were just not being honored because they kept saying, buy a shirt within the next 5 minutes to win, and those winners just never being honored. And then it would go from buy a shirt within the next 5 minutes to buy a shirt within the next 30 seconds. Everybody who buys merch within this window is gonna win some money, and none of that actually happens. And for anybody thinking like, oh, it's just the internet, you know, who's gonna believe all of this stuff? Well, his audience, the children who are vulnerable and gullible and are most likely going to fall for all of this. So now imagine you're the world's biggest MrBeast fan, also you're 7 years old. You go into the live stream and you hear MrBeast saying, hey, if you buy this merch within the next X amount of time, we'll throw in a nice little prize for you. So you buy the merch, it's MrBeast, you trust him, he's your favorite YouTuber, your merch shows up, and it's just a t-shirt. It might be a signed t-shirt even, but who knows if that's even MrBeast signing it. Because there's also been a controversy of another signed t-shirt livestream that happened with merch, where you could see some of the people that were working for MrBeast signing the shirts on his behalf. So something that could have been a collectible might end up just actually being worthless, because it's all fake. And now we can talk about how all of this ties into their Feastables brand, you know, the official MrBeast chocolate, which, you know, I did get the chance to try out when they were launching, and, you know, I thought it was a good tasting chocolate. Not the best out there, but I like that MrBeast was trying to make a healthier alternative chocolate with fewer ingredients versus the highly processed stuff that you see in like a Hershey's bar, for example, which they're constantly bashing, by the way. But MrBeast was also allegedly using shady giveaway tactics and gambling psychology in order to invite people for the chance to maybe get featured on his chocolate factory video, where if you bought one of the candy bars, you had the chance to get a ticket to be in his chocolate factory video. And this raised a lot of eyebrows because one of the people who found one of the tickets just so happened to be a YouTube channel that had almost 800,000 subscribers and would also go on to win the whole thing in the end. And some people were even speculating that just like how Dogpack404 mentions in his video, some of the winners are decided beforehand, and sometimes it's people who are in personal connection with MrBeast. So you're being told to buy the chocolate for the chance to maybe get featured in MrBeast video, and even after that happens, they're still pushing sales by giving away money and prizes and getting the consumer into that habit of having to buy chocolate for the chance of maybe having a life-changing event happen to them. And if bribing kids to buy more chocolate, which contributes to overall obesity, which MrBeast often speaks out against, if that wasn't bad enough, it gets even worse when you find out that MrBeast then changed the ingredients on all the Feastables bars to have them have as much processed ingredients as Hershey's. So all of those claims that Feastables was the healthier alternative to other chocolate bars, that just goes out the window. So this bombshell video drops and everybody's talking about it. Immediately afterwards, two very important things happen. Number one, a current employee of MrBeast who goes by the name of Chucky actually makes an entire thread on X. So Chucky goes over and starts debunking a lot of the things that were mentioned in the video, like for example, all the acting and the scripting, the fake CGI that's being used, something about a raccoon being a paid actor. But what Chucky fails to address is, like what I mentioned, the important things that we talked about, like the illegal lotteries, the gambling psychology, the fake signatures. All the important and actually damaging things don't get brought up at all. The second important thing that happens after this whole thread goes down is that Dogpack404 allegedly receives a cease and desist letter from the MrBeast team. And I don't know about you guys, but from my perspective, in the world of content creation, you get hate from all the directions all the time. So when you go out of your way to silence one specific area of hate, that's when you know there's something wrong there, that there's something going on there in specific that we should be paying attention to, because sending a cease and desist letter is basically a way of saying like, hey, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong here, but let me just shut this guy up. Like cease and desist letters, if they are real, because it is still alleged, maybe perhaps, you know, it's never a good look for the person sending them. And from what I understand, Dogpack404 has stated that the cease and desist letter's not really going to stop them because they're still planning on making a part 2 video, which is supposed to be even worse. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the most recent drama that's been unfolding before our very eyes, and it's everything that has to do with the whole Beast Games situation. So for those of you who don't know, Beast Games is a competition show that's being run by MrBeast that's supposed to premiere on Amazon Prime, and it's supposed to be the biggest competition ever with a $5 million prize pool. So in this post that was made by Rosanna Pansino, she mentions that she's been getting messages from people who were allegedly competing in the MrBeast Games and were already eliminated, people who were still competing at the time, and people that she knew personally who were involved with the show. She's made a couple of posts talking about this subject, and apparently things have been going so horribly wrong during the Beast Games that some of the contestants were genuinely afraid for their safety and for the safety of the other competitors. These are some of the messages that she received from some of the alleged contestants that were in the show. It was really bad. People were having seizures because they were not getting medication, even though we were promised we would, and it was 100% rigged. They presented it as though the games would be like Squid Games, basically a type of game show where all the games were on an even playing field. That was not at all the case. All the games were about speed and strength. So only the young athletic males were at an advantage over the women and the elderly people that were casted. To make things worse, men started realizing that they could take out the women without being eliminated. Guys started tackling and hitting women. 2 girls were tackled and passed out on the field and dragged off to continue filming. I saw people with broken bones, stitches, etc., and most were women. And the worst part that it says here is that they offered anyone who lost $1,000 to sign away their rights to join any kind of class action lawsuit of any kind. I didn't sign, so I did not get the money. After this article came out and things started blowing up, they called everyone back and decided to offer an additional $1,000 per person to make up for the inconveniences. And the reason that anybody's choosing to trust Rosanna Pansino as their go-to contact with this sort of information is that she was also a contestant in a different MrBeast video. She was in the Extreme $1 million hide-and-seek video, and in that video, Rosanna has come out multiple times saying that she and another YouTuber called Quackity originally made it into the top 3 of the competition, but MrBeast had edited the video and taken them out to make it seem like Logan Paul and another YouTuber called Lorray had gotten into the top 3 instead. So ever since that point, Rosanna's been very vocal about speaking out against MrBeast, and that's why people just message her with this stuff. And look guys, I'm all for competitions being tough. I think it's fun, I think it's challenging and enjoyable, but the way that they're describing here, if it really did happen the way they're saying that it did, that is just not tough. That's just cruel and unusual. And according to this recent post that Rosanna made, it said that Jimmy's production team took every contestant's underwear and medicine from them for some weird reason. You took away their medication and their undies. For why? They were told they would be given back each night to change, but were not. Multiple female contestants messaged me saying that Beast Games still has their underwear. Disgusting. And it also says here, according to a quote from a post from the New York Times, contestants were instructed to supply the production staff with a Ziploc bag containing 5 days worth of undergarments, which would be distributed to the contestants once the games were underway. But several contestants said that they waited hours or even days to receive clean underwear. So this information matches up many of the stories from the contestants that have been reaching out to me with their stories and experiences. One woman said that she still has not received her underwear back from Beast Games. So somebody at Beast Games is still to this day allegedly holding women's underwear hostage. I don't understand what's going on here. I really don't. They were also stating that 5 of the contestants tested positive for COVID and someone was allowed to go in with pink eye, which of course is also contagious. So all of that just sounds like a disaster of a production that's been going on at Beast Games, and I'm pretty sure that the people behind the MrBeast team know that it's a disaster because they wouldn't be allegedly offering hush money if that wasn't the case. So apart from all the Beast Games drama that's been happening, MrBeast actually issued a public apology, not to the contestants. No, he's saying sorry for the inappropriate language that he's used in the past. It's basically a, I'm sorry, I used to say edgy stuff when I was younger kind of apology. And that's basically where we're at this point. I think we're pretty much caught up with everything. MrBeast recently uploaded a video putting 2 people in a bunker for 100 days, and that video's been getting so much negativity that's just not even visible, to be honest, because those comments have been getting deleted like crazy. But it's just really interesting to see how everything's unfolding, and I guess we kind of just have to wait and see if this is the last we'll hear about all the drama that's been going on, or if there's more to unpack. And I hope there's not that much, because man, I don't want to make an update about this. I just want to cover it, be done, we're good. But if more stuff shows up and you guys like this video, I'll be inclined to make a new one about it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.